Welcome everyone to today's video. We're going to be reviewing the K4 Duo from Kiwi Designs. This is their brand new head strap that also has a set of headphones on it, and it all works as one unit to charge the headset and also give you a different version of audio if you don't like the audio that's already on the Quest 3. Now, because this all works through the USB-C cable, it means that it works on the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S because you don't need a 3.5mm jack to actually get the headphone audio. Now, I'll be diving down, I'll show you what's in the box, how to put it on the Quest, and then I'll be giving you my overall thoughts of the product and whether it's worth your money. Now, a quick disclaimer, Kiwi Designs have kindly sent me this over to review, but as always, this doesn't sway my thoughts. They haven't seen the video prior, and you will get everything as I see it and what I think of it and whether you should be buying this product. So let's dive down, show you what's inside the box, and let's get cracking. So let's go over my thoughts on the K4 Duo. We'll start off by just literally talking about the headphones because obviously that's the main selling point to this head strap. It's not the battery, because if you could go for any battery strap, you probably would just go for any other one. You wouldn't necessarily go for one with headphones on it unless you was necessarily interested in having headphones on your head strap. So let's actually talk about these. I won't be comparing them much to other headphones on the market. I will be comparing them, however, to the actual Quest headphones themselves to kind of give you a reasoning as to why they might be worth picking up. So firstly, these can be adjusted. I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. So if we go like that, okay, so you can pull them out like that, and then they go into your ears. They don't go into your ears, but they sit on your ears. So literally you'll go like that and they'll sit on. And you do feel the pressure of them sitting on your ears, not like a normal general set of headphones, but you do feel they're there. And because they're not that padded, you can feel the hardness of this. Like if you see here, like I'm squeezing that, there's a little tiny bit of paddingness to it, not enough to kind of say they're the most padded type of headphones out there. So you do feel them on your ears. They're not uncomfortable, but like I said, you will notice they're there. And I mean, I've used it for trying to think, just over a week now, and literally you get used to them. But every time you put it on, you realize they're there for the first time again. If that makes sense, it's almost like you go back and then you're like, oh, okay, they're there. And then like about an hour into your play session, you kind of get used to how it's feeling. And then an hour later, you've just kind of forgot they're even there. Um, like I said, they can be adjusted like this as well. Trying to think again, best way to do this. So you can raise them up and down, depending on how your ears are. You can do that. And if you don't want them while you're using the Quest, you can raise them to the back here to store them away. Makes it look a little bit more sleek. Not really. Now, if you are using these and you decide at any point you want to use the Quest audio, then you can do with the flick of a button, which I don't think it's going to pick up because my ring light's like, no. But there's a button here. And you can hear it made noise in the Quest because but there's a button there. And basically that will change the audio from the headphones or to the Quest. Now, let's actually talk about the audio themselves. These are actually pretty decent. They are pretty decent. Like I said, I'm not comparing them to like other £200 headphones on the market or other gaming headsets that I've used because I don't think that's the actual catering point for these headphones. They're meant to be mid-range at best. to kind of give you a bit more amplified sound as opposed to how the Quest audio is. Because obviously, where the Quest audio plays through these, and they're not on the bottom, it plays through those, it kind of plays out the top. And obviously, as sound goes, you still hear it, but it goes more outside than it does to your ears. So with these, they fine tune the audio, literally just go straight on your ears, as you can expect with normal everyday headphones. Now, I'm not saying the Quest headphones themselves are not bad. I actually don't mind them. I get on with them pretty fine. This is actually incredibly better. I've done two audio clips just to kind of judge myself. I will add those in probably in a minute, just so you can kind of hear the differences. There is background noise as well, but I'll put a little note of which part is actually the audio playing from the actual headphones and which part is the audio playing from the Quest. Now, when these are turned up fully loud, the actual headphones, you can hear them and they do bleed out for people to hear, but they're more fine tuned to what you're hearing. Whereas when these bleed out, you're still hearing them, but you're not hearing them at their full capacity like you would with these in the full volume. So I have been enjoying my time with them, like especially playing rhythm games and things like that. I've really found like the music on this to be more pumping and a bit more bass boosting than the headphones already on the Quest. So I actually like them. My only issue really with the headphones is that they're not that comfortable. Like the head strap itself is comfortable, but these I just wish were padded a bit more, or I wish they kind of didn't have to sit on your ears, or they could like sit like that, so they hung off a little bit. But they always kind of spring load to your ear, and I wish they kind of did it so they were more tension here instead of a spring load, because obviously you can see that kind of springs. If that was a tension, you could literally adjust it and just leave it in one position. It also makes putting the headset on a bit more of a pain in the arse, like here, for instance. So let's say you have them both down and you've left them in their position from the last time you played, and you go to put it on. You do your, and then you realize they're now hitting the side of your face, and then you have to go like that, and then you put it on, and then you have to adjust it, and boom, you're sorted. So now you have your Quest on with your headphones, and they're in their position of where you want them to be. And like I said, they're fine once you've got used to them, but for the first few times of using them, you wish they could be more comfortable. And still, that's my overall thoughts. Is that I still wish they could be comfortable. As for the battery strap itself, it's the K4 Boost. It's literally the K4 Boost just with headphones strapped onto it. The head strap itself is absolutely comfortable. It's fantastic. I've got no issues with this. I do have the question though of how quickly the battery drains that it's powering headphones as well, because the headphones are all powered through the USB-C, and the USB-C is obviously also charging the head strap, charging the headset itself. So my main concern would be there is that, are these using more battery, and therefore I'm not getting the 2.5 hours out of the head strap. I'm more getting close to 2 hours or an hour and hour and 40 minutes or something like that. Um, I don't have the stuff to test that compared to a K4 Boost. I can't really compare the two in that with actual, testing it properly with the battery detectors and all that kind of stuff. I don't have that type of equipment, but I'm sure somebody on the internet will do that one day. But from a standpoint, these aren't too bad. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to play the two audio clips that I did earlier. The two games I played were Smash Drums and Tactical Assault. You can hear one section of me shooting the gun, and that will be then the Quest audio, and one will be the actual Kiwi audio. And I'll put a little note of which one it is. Like I said, you can hear background audio, so I won't leave it on for too long. It'll give you an understanding of how much these bleed out, but also the quality of the sound between the two different tracks. So let's roll over to that now. So what those little sound clips tell you is that even though the Quest 3 audio is louder there, it isn't actually louder when you're listening to it yourself and playing the game. And that's obviously because with the Quest audio shooting up, it's just going into the air and you're kind of getting a bit of that sound. But whereas if you put these on, they're directly straight to your ears and you're hearing that much louder and more fine tuned. and it does really actually increase the game itself. Having good audio in playing games is really important. And like I said, I'm not in any way bashing the Quest 3 audio, but these do improve the audio overall in the Quest itself. And it is a decent head strap. I'm actually happy with it. I am happy with it, but there's a caveat, and let's get to that caveat. And it's one of the caveats as to why I probably won't use this myself going forward. And you may fit into that same bracket as well. So let's go over that, and then we'll go over the price and our final thoughts of the actual product. So obviously, where this is powered and connected with the headphones for a USB-C, I am one that uses a link cable to play PC VR. Now, obviously, I could use these different things where you plug it into one and plug it into another and all that kind of stuff. And you can do that if you want, but it just gets messy. But if you don't have all that type of stuff like me, you're just somebody who likes to keep it basic. You won't be able to use these headphones when playing on PC VR. So, because that won't connect. You have to obviously connect your link cable to that. So that's the downfall. So I kind of wish they made like a retractable 3.5mm jack for people that would use it on PC VR, because I think these aren't too bad to have on connected to a headset. Sure, I would have liked them to look a little bit smaller, but beggars can't be choosers in that situation. But that's the main caveat for me that will make me not want to use this product going forward. And like I said, this is by no means a bad head strap. I've actually enjoyed my time with it. I found the audio to be adequate. I found it improve the audio quite a bit on the Quest, but not enough for me to make it, me to want to run to the shops and be like, everyone buy this now. It's adequate. And if you are looking to improve the audio and you actually don't like the audio on the Quest, I think this is a great thing to look at. Now, again, let's get on to the next caveat, and that's the price. Obviously, head straps, battery head straps range from anywhere from 50 to 80 pounds. This adds on an extra 50 if you go from the 80 pound point. So this is actually 130 pounds on the Kiwi website, which is quite a big ask. So 130 pound for a head strap, although it being very good, is a big ask, especially if you're somebody who's just bought a Quest 3 or a Quest 3S, and then you're dropping 130 pound on a head strap that you may possibly not get the most enjoyment from. So I mean, it's it's a difficult one, because I'm not saying it's a bad product in any way, shape, or form. I've actually really enjoyed my time with it, and I feel like the audio is actually pretty decent for the games I play and things like that. But I also feel like the price point is not where I would want it to be as someone who would look at buying a product. I mean, I'd probably say maybe in the £100, 110. I'd probably say £100 is a nice point, but again, I don't know how much the manufacturing cost is and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, let's not drill too much about the price, but obviously that is the price. Let's actually talk about it one last time and wrap it up, and let's go from there and kind of say whether you should consider buying it or not. For me, I think it's comfortable. The head strap itself is the K4 Boost with the added headset. So already it's a decent combo. Now, like I said, this is only for you to go out of your way and buy if you don't like the Quest 3 audio. There is no reason for you to buy this if you're happy with the Quest 3 audio. You can just go and get the K4 Boost, or the H4 Boost, whatever other Kiwi strap you want to get. But if you are somebody that really dislikes the Quest 3 audio, I'd say heavily consider this one if you don't mind having a bulkier looking headset. And then another thing to consider as well is, if you're somebody who likes to travel with your headset, it's unlikely that this will fit in many carry cases. You would have to find something bigger, or you would have to look at maybe buying a bag, putting a lens cover on, and going that route. So there's a lot of factors to bear in, but I think the product itself is decent. I think the price is a bit steep, and I think the caveats that fold into it will make it a product that I won't want to use going forward, because I actually put my headset in a carry case. I use the link cable, and I'm not too bothered by the Quest 3 audio. However, I will say my time with it has been fun, and it has improved the audio, and I've noticed the difference in audio, and I've noticed the quality of the audio being much better. But again, with the other things, it just makes it more inconvenient for me to get out of my way and play my VR. So yeah, that's it. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It all really means a lot to me. And yeah, with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy and have a great day.